I've never actually owned a pet in my life, but after spending a considerable amount of time with the Tata Punch EV, I've now realized how it must feel to have a golden retriever or a Labrador in your life, because it's faithful, it's cheerful, it gets you and stands by you every single time. This Tata Punch EV has been my daily driver for the past couple of months, and in this time I've actually moved my house. So not only has the Punch EV doubled up as my daily hauler, it has remained by my side throughout my back and forth while shifting the house. Also, let me tell you that I'm making this video in a transition, because you see the new Punch facelift has already been launched and we have done a detailed video on it. So do check out that video on our channel if you haven't already. And the new Punch EV, the facelift, is also about to come. In fact, after this video goes live, it will be arriving within a days or weeks once you have seen this video. So in this video, we'll be taking a look at a few things that this Punch EV really aces at, and the new one should retain that thing, and a few things that the new one could improve upon. You're watching Car and Bike, I'm Bilal, but before we go ahead, you know the drill. It's like, share and subscribe to the Car and Bike YouTube channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell icon as well so that you can be notified every time we bring out a new informative and entertaining video such as this one. Now firstly, the best thing about the Punch EV is the way it drives. The 120 odd horsepower output that it has, it really feels like 120 horsepower. The urgency, the swiftness, and the way it accelerates, be it in the city or on the highway, it really makes you realize that how much we have lacked these kind of cars in India. Cars that are really powerful, which are compact and really fun behind the wheel. The Punch EV, it has been a hoot, be it the city commutes, the highway runs, and I really wish the new one, it retains this trait because it has good drivability. It is involving to drive. The compact dimension, it is actually really handy when it comes to the overtakes, making that gap in the traffic, or just making your way through your everyday driving. The new one, it can actually be slightly more powerful, it can be slightly more involving and have a slightly more soul, because this is an EV. It lacks a bit of a soul, but it's no denying the fact that it is genuinely fun to drive. Now this is a long-term review, so let me walk you through some of the glitches, niggles, snags and problems that we faced with our Punch EV. First is the AC. Now the AC in this car, all of a sudden it decides without any warning that you need to be a bit toasty. It increases the temperature out of nowhere without any warning, and the worst part is you don't even know it because the temperature display is showing the normal temperature that you set it on, but the AC, it's emitting heat from the air vents, and it feels weird because you start feeling hot and you feel like your AC, it's kind of possessed. And talking about possessed, I really think the navigation map on the Android Auto, it was possessed, because at slow speeds, not at higher speed mind you, at slow speed it never showed my car's exact position on the map. If I put a certain location, my car's position would be some 500 meters away in center of a lake somewhere, and it wasn't a problem if you knew the place. But if you are new to some area where you need a proper direction, where to take a left, where to take a U-turn, or you're in the traffic, it never really helped. It did get better at highway speeds, but in the city, especially in an unknown city, it was kind of a nuisance. And next up, it's the one thing that was broken in our car, the one thing that we couldn't fix, and the one thing that it was the only one thing that was broken, and it was the right paddle shifters. And like my life, it was broken, hanging by the edge, but still functioning somehow. Yeah, I know I said one thing, but the only other thing that is broken in our car is this broken door bead. Yeah, I know it's a little thing and not a deal breaker, but it's the little things that count. Also, lastly, our car, there was a lot of rattle from the second row seats, but that I won't put on the car because it has been through a lot, and not all the owners or the cars that are on the road might be facing these similar issues. Now, as I mentioned, these are some of the niggles that we faced in our specific car and might not be there out on the other cars as well. And I hope the new one is slightly better engineered. Fingers crossed. Now, an honest confession here. Our Punch EV, it has ruined me. It has ruined my perception of how a bad road or a speed breaker is taken, because that's how really good its suspension setup is. Because when I get behind the wheel of any other car, I have a perception that it will also take the bad road or a speed breaker at any specific given speed as good as this one does. Because this one, its ride quality is really good. On the bad roads, it handles every bad roads with real maturity, and over some really bad roads, it does feel fabulous. Now it goes over some of the surfaces, it takes in the damping really well, it doesn't send the thuds and all the bad roads irregularities inside the cabin, and I really hope that Tata has aced this suspension setup game, and the new one, it really retains that trait. And then we finally come to the range and the battery. Now, Tata's range claimed is 421 kilometers for this range topping version, but the real world figure is far from it, because what we have here is the range topping version with a 35 kilowatt hour battery pack, and I think that's not fitting enough for Indian usage after driving cars with a range of around 400 to 500 kilometers with a bigger battery pack. Because this one, it really does anything between 250 to 270 kilometers. That is decent for a city sleeker like me, and a couple of Mumbai-Pune trip was also squeezed out of it, but it did require a lot of planning and a charge on a way back. But what really grinds my gear, or what I really need to point out, is how quickly the last 20% depletes, because you would try to take it out on a one last trip and squeeze a one last trip out of it, expecting that the last 20% would deplete as linearly as the first 80%. But once you're there, that last 20%, it just goes down unnecessarily quickly, and you would be hastily searching for a charging station unplanned, and that is a bit of a problem, and that's where the real range anxiety kicks in. Because with newer cars, newer EVs, the range anxiety, it's kind of reduced compared to the older cars. Now I really hope the new Punch EV facelift, it improves upon this. It improves upon its battery management system, especially those last 20% where the charge, the SOC, it depletes rather quickly. Or I could also be a bit ambitious and hope Tata introduces a bigger battery pack with this one. Say the 45 kilowatt hour from the Nexon EV, that would make a huge difference if it makes its way to the Punch EV. The range would go up, the range anxiety would go away, and the Punch EV would become a more complete package. And finally, I want to end this video with a bit of a confession. Now, when the Punch EV was launched a couple of years ago, its pricing and its positioning made me think that this one makes the bigger Nexon EV a more value for money proposition. But after spending considerable amount of time with it, I have now realized that I was wrong, because the Punch EV, it fills the gap, or rather it creates a segment of its own in its own sweet way. It is sweet to drive, it is compact, it is genuinely fun behind the wheel, and it offers all the features that you get in the Nexon EV, and it still feels complete. Yeah, sure, there are a few niggles. The space could be better, the range could be slightly better, and the overall driving dynamics, it need not improve. Overall, the Punch EV was a complete product. It is a product that I wouldn't trade for anything else. And that's the Punch EV for you, and things will only get better from here on. So here's to the Punch EV, and here's to the new one. And that's all from me in this video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, do hit that like button and share this video with someone who's looking to buy a small compact electric car, and they might consider the Punch EV, and if they are waiting for the Punch EV facelift. And if you have any other questions regarding this car or the new one, let us know in the comments, and I promise we will address them all personally. And that's all from me in this video. This is Bilal signing off. Until next time.